For those of you who haven't been keeping up with sports, which to be fair, I assume to be most of my demographic, Jude Bellingham just publicly broke up with Haaland, kicking Norway out of the World Cup once and for all. Most importantly, this means we no longer will see Norway's very famous celebration with the whole rowing motion. Yet this doesn't mean that the rowing stops. Kind of. Argentina is still rowing, but in a slightly different way. Whereas Norway's rowing motion is a sign of strength and camaraderie and a callback to their own Viking roots, Argentinians may also do a rowing motion to refer back to our idiomatic expression, remándola en dulce de leche.
To row in milk caramel, remar en dulce de leche. To put your energy into solving a problem that requires a great deal of effort.
So what we learned through Robert De Niro is that this idiomatic expression is not a sign of strength, but rather of going through an extremely challenging situation. For example, we may use it to refer to a conversation where our speaking partner was being particularly dry. So how was the conversation with Laura? Y la estuve remando toda la charla. Or maybe to refer to a relationship. How's everything with your boyfriend? Y le estamos remando. Maybe a challenging work situation. Or maybe you may use it to refer to Argentina's national team's performance during the World Cup. But how well can we translate it into English? True, it doesn't really show much in TV, movies, or even books, where we have a tendency with Rio Platense Spanish to go into a more neutral way of speaking, which is a whole other kind of worms, but we can still think of it as a fun thought experiment. I think that maybe 9 out of 10 times, the best way to translate idiomatic expressions is to look into idiomatic expressions of our target culture. Thus, I do think that even though there are sort of old, these expressions of going through the ringer or running through the gauntlet might be very good candidates. Though, with the second one, I might be a little bit biased as a fourth ring reader. These English expressions in which we are describing challenging situations do seem to feel a bit more serious than our own Spanish idiomatic expressions. And this is because culturally, something that I've just noticed lately is that us Argentines really complain a lot. And we have thus a whole myriad of idiomatic expressions in which are just ways in which we complain about things that may range from life or death situations and also into very minor inconveniences. And honestly, rolling dulce de leche really lies more in the minor inconveniences side of the scale. However, even though we may not reach a complete conclusion here and a final translation, it is very interesting to think about how we may want to approach translating idioms. And even though the level of seriousness is completely failing in my translations, I think that this idea of physically moving through something may be a good place to start, at the very least. How about you guys? Which expression would you use to refer to this idea of remando en dulce de leche? I'd love to hear your thoughts.